Hello, hello. Happy Sunday, everyone.
Happy Sunday, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Welcome to the God is
Got
Really Raw podcast.
it? Come on, get it together now. I know it's been a minute, but Mike, you forgot how to talk?
I did just that quick second.
Mm-mm.
But welcome to the show, guys. We're so happy to have everyone here today. We're going to have a good show today, and we're excited about our guest who's going to be on. Miss Alicia,
Mincy.
Mincy. See, I get it. I told you I was going to forget.
I think I'm saying it right. But
Yeah.
anyway, but yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna have a good time today. We're gonna talk about some important things that women, I would say men too, need to know. And
I think because men need to know how to deal with
right,
their woman when they're going through this.
yes,
Because it's not just the woman, it's the man and is the woman and the man.
yeah,
Or the man and the woman, either way.
mm-hmm,
Yeah. But before we get started on that, just wanted to say, again, happy Sunday, happy Sunday.
mm-hmm,
I want to thank everybody for joining us.
mm-hmm.
And also, sorry that we have not been on for the last couple of weeks. We've had a couple of technical difficulties, and we
Yeah,
finally got that sorted out. And so now we're back on live today, and we'll
yeah,
be back on each weekend
mm-hmm,
on Sunday at 9 o'clock our time in the UK,
mm-hmm.
and all the other times in the different
You got to check your time
countries.
zones and see
Yep, Texas
where it's
time
at.
zones. Yep, I think Alabama, that part Central time is 3 hours ahead. No, 3 hours
No,
behind.
yeah, 6 hours.
No, 6 hours. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
where
six.
you at? Where you going?
Oh, I'm way off. See, that's why I'm rusty. Yeah, 6 hours, and
right.
New York is 5,
Bermuda
and Bermuda's
is
4.
4. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, check your time zone and see so you can pop in, and even if you just do the replay, you can just go in and watch and get some information that can help you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
So, how was your week? Or how was your last couple of weeks? We've actually been very busy.
we have been, and I'm just so glad we didn't slow down. That's the main thing. Yes.
Slow down. What? Where we slow down at?
Slow down by just, taking it
You
easy.
slow down. I ain't
You
slowed
know,
down. I'm still going every day. I gotta work tomorrow, even though it's a bank holiday.
that's messed up.
Well, it's only because of my job. It
Yeah.
was the position and the
Mhm.
fact that the jobs are already in the system and they
Right.
really needed them done. And the bank holiday was just made up a week. Was not made up, but was just put in a week ago.
Right.
So it was like
Mhm.
a last minute kind of thing. So
Mhm.
they asked me because as we know, today is the last day before the burial of the Queen,
That's right. All
Queen
right.
Elizabeth II. Yep, she's gonna
Mhm.
be buried tomorrow. I think
Yeah.
they've gone through 10 days of
Morning.
yeah.
So it's
And
been a lot of stuff going on.
you want to hear something that was not funny, but you want something?
What's that?
They are. I won't say they're losing their mind, but they are crazy. They are really thing over here.
Yeah, I
Some
didn't think it
watching.
was
No,
gonna
wait,
be like
listen.
this.
I was watching TV, watching the sport. I was watching the Yankees because I got to see the Yankees on
Right.
on ESPN here in the
Right.
UK.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden the volume goes down. So I'm like, what's going on with the volume? Why is the volume gone?
Mm-hmm.
They actually muted the TV for a minute of silence. I was like, what is going on?
Look, they
Like,
taking this thing very
and they put,
seriously.
we have muted the TV out of observance and thing of the Queen Elizabeth death. And I was
Mhm.
like, I'm trying to hear what's going on. Like, what is going on? I was like, wow. But yeah.
But you know what? It is what it is. Make sure you put that on mute because I hear the kids.
She's trying to turn on star.
They're trying to, but you know what? It is what it is. People know that we have kids on this podcast, so if you hear them in the background, it's okay.
Poor thing, she tried
It's
to turn on
quite
the
normal.
kitchen.
It's quite
She
normal.
finally got it on.
Yeah.
She's like, echo.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, she had been the queen for a long time. So,
70 years.
for a long, long time. And, people, they adjusting. They taking it really, really hard.
Yeah, I saw a clip from Trevor Noah, I think his name is.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about how, some people are just upset because the people that are not acknowledging it or saying, they're like, why you not, she was a grandmother, she was a mother, why you not upset? Because everybody deals with things differently.
Everybody, yeah. Not everybody.
Everybody's not going to react the same
Mhm.
way that some people are acting. Like I saw where a woman and her child
Mhm.
was online since 2 o'clock in the morning. How you gonna have the child had to be no more than like 6 or 7 in line at 2 in the morning?
Yeah, but
And then when they got to the to the coffin, a man pushed her aside and tried to get to the coffin. So then they had to arrest him, and then I guess a bunch of stuff happened.
Mm,
So they both crying, and then she's like, "Oh, we have to get back in line so we can go." And I'm like, "You gonna go back in line?" Like,
yeah,
I,
it's a
yeah.
culture thing, I think because
No, to each their own. I mean, I'm sorry she passed. Maybe because we never lived here. Maybe because we're not
I,
from
I
here.
I feel that I have some type of remorse because, like you said, it was a mother, she
Yes,
was a grandmother, she
yes,
was a human. You know what I
yes.
mean? So
And you don't want to see nobody. You don't want to see
yeah,
that
so
happen to
to the
no
point that
family.
they lost a relative,
Hmm.
a loved one, that's a hard thing. It ain't about the fact of her just being the queen and a title and everything that she carried. It's about the fact that she was, like I said, she was human. She was a woman that lived a life just like everyone else. And once everyone that lived must die. So she came to her point. So that's what it was with
Yeah,
the queen.
yeah. But
So
as was for that, I have no idea.
yeah. How was your week
Um,
other than that? It was pretty good.
uh, yeah. I had a conversation at work and got some things straight. I was Ose would be able to help me with this. I was a little burnt out,
Mm.
and somebody brought up the thing where we was talking where he actually had a podcast where he what's it called again, the fire.
Fire podcast.
No, what's his podcast?
Um, oh my goodness, I can't think of it at the
Oh,
moment.
I gotta think about it.
It
Like,
just
yeah,
escaped
oh my
me.
goodness gracious, I can't believe I because I was gonna promote it, but
Mm.
oh man, he has his Ose Daniels. He's on Facebook and he
Is
on
it
Instagram.
empowered?
Empowered, yeah,
Yeah, it's empowered,
empowerment,
isn't it?
empowered,
Yeah, empowered.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he's on Instagram. Ose Daniels, OSEA. I mean OSEI
Mm-hmm.
Daniels, and he was talking about like when you get to a point where you just quit and you start not giving your all.
Mm.
And I wasn't to that point of not giving my all, but I was to the point of frustration where I wanted to leave.
Yeah, I noticed that because you was really stressed
I
for
was
the
really
last couple
stressed.
of weeks.
They was piling on a lot on me, and I had to tell them you got to ease up. And once I had that conversation, they did ease up and
Mm-hmm.
um, helped me out a little bit of some things that needed to be happening. And ever since then, it's been pretty good. So I can't complain.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
communication is key because I said, Pedro, you need to talk to them and tell them
Yeah, I
how
do.
you
I
feel.
did. I did talk to
You
them.
know,
I'm not gonna hold my tongue. They know I'm gonna call and say something. So if I have an issue, I will, say something.
yeah. So I'm
Just like
just
I would
glad you
tell you.
finally you got through it,
Yeah,
and
because you
that
don't want
was.
me to leave. You want me to stay there forever.
Look, we have kids. We have a family. You know what I'm saying? We have to eat.
I had another job lined up.
I know you did, but I like this job.
You only like this job because the other job is temporary,
Yeah.
with the idea of maybe going full time.
Yeah. So just to think of the point of the ideal part is like, it's not,
Yeah. Okay.
you know.
Yeah.
So that was my main thing about that.
And then we had this couple of weeks. We've had that's something we'll talk about on another podcast. We
Yeah, that's a
definitely
whole
had
nother subject.
yeah we had a very eventful past month
Hmm.
with our marriage
Yeah.
that
So
we'll talk about later.
yeah. So
Definitely, it was definitely some.
because you guys know that we always talk about marriage and different things in our
Yeah, but it
podcast
was just the devil
and
was
what we
really in. The
experience.
devil was really in there
Yeah.
trying to do some things, and you know,
Yeah.
thank God, God has blessed me to be more calm,
Hmm.
and not the past Pedro, because the past Pedro, I'll be honest,
Look, you a whole
a
new different.
door would have
You
been
just
broken,
different
a
Pedro that
TV
I'm
would have been
like,
smashed,
yeah,
something.
I'm looking for that Pedro, but
Nah,
God has did a transformation,
yeah.
and I say thank you
Thank
Jesus
you, Lord. Thank
for
you,
that.
Lord. Yes, thank you,
So
Lord.
that's the
So,
main thing because marriage
yes.
is not easy. You go through different things, and you growing and both of you changing. So it's just a lot going on. So that's totally a different type of topic that we're gonna cover
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm
maybe
saying
on our
we're
next episode.
on the next episode. We'll talk
Yeah,
about it.
but today
Yeah.
we're gonna focus on the infertility that we need to cover. What?
I need the.
Oh, you don't have the email on your phone.
Oh,
But
what's
here,
that?
just read it.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, so we're gonna bring in our guest now because it's about that time, and she's been patiently waiting. So thank her so much for that. So you ready?
Can we read the whole thing?
You could just read the thing. It
Okay.
don't
So
take you
pretty
long to
much
read.
we're gonna
But
be
when
we want to
we'll
bring
bring it
on.
in first, right?
No, we'll bring on afterwards.
Okay, after you say it. Okay, go
Yeah.
ahead.
All right. Actually, first let's pray.
Okay, let's pray first.
You can pray for us.
Okay, Lord, thank you so much for this day, for this podcast, for Miss Alicia coming in, talking about this important topic that all women and men need to know about. I'm asking you, Lord, to bring in the people that need to hear it now or even later on the replay. Thank you, Lord, for your blessings. I pray in your name. Amen.
Amen. So we're going to bring on Alicia Mecene. She is the founder and psychotherapist with Emotional Wellness Boutique, a thriving private practice specializing in online therapeutic services for women and girls 13 plus. With over 15 years of experience, Alicia provides a non-judgmental and down-to-earth approach and reassured with and resource with skills to flourish forward. I should wear my glasses.
Yeah.
Career highlights include serving as a counseling team leader, assisting research with the University of Massachusetts, a graduate research fellowship at Assumption College, and public speaking at Boston University.
Hmm.
While counseling is her passion, Alicia is also deeply inspired by the expansive reach that public speaking activates in changing lives. Alicia has spoken for conferences, podcasts, television segments, schools, agencies, churches, and other community events. You can find her on Instagram and Facebook, which we'll put up later, under the name Emotional Wellness Boutique. And for more information, check out her website, which is www.emotionalwellnessboutique.com. So, with that in mind, we would like to bring on Alicia Mecene.
Hey there, hey.
Hi, how are
Hey,
you?
Fine, how are you guys doing?
we're doing
Okay,
wonderful.
It's
okay.
so great to join you today.
We're so happy to have you on with us today.
That's right.
And
Really
that
looking
nice
forward.
smile, the very lighten up the room, lighten up the room.
Definitely.
Hey, that's what peace will do for you.
Yeah,
Definitely.
nothing wrong with that. You would think that you would, be a little tired or something.
Yeah, with the
But
kids.
well,
Yeah, that's
yeah. Being a
yeah.
mother, a wife, especially a mom, is definitely exhausting. I think one of the
Right.
things that you learn very quickly in motherhood is that you can have conflicting emotions simultaneously. So you can be
Mhm.
joyful and exhausted at the same time,
Right.
right?
I
You can
know a
have
lot
Yes.
about that.
mixed emotions. It's not
Mhm.
always going to be one way or the other, right?
Right. Right.
So yeah, smiling but absolutely so tired.
That's why I brought it up. I knew you were bringing home if I said that.
Yeah.
So could you tell the people where you're from?
Yeah, sure. Before I do that, I just want to thank you
Okay.
both for inviting me. It's an honor to be here in this space. So thank you again. I
You're
am born.
welcome.
Thank you. I'm born in the beautiful island of Bermuda. So I'm a Bermuda-based clinician that was trained in the US.
Right.
So I've gotten the best of both worlds in a sense, I guess.
Well, that's awesome.
Same thing for me. I was born in Bermuda, but I was trained in the U.S.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Don't let the accent fool you. Just because I have the American accent, but you knew that. I grew up in Bermuda till about 10, so
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
I
great
know
place
what it.
to grow up and live and
Oh,
just
definitely.
be.
I
Yeah.
definitely miss it for my children,
Yeah.
even now. So, the point that you having your kids there and I see all the different pictures on her
Mhm.
Instagram, stories and stuff, guys. It's wonderful.
Yeah,
It
I
they're
don't miss it
really
too
is.
much. I don't miss the beaches.
You don't?
I never liked the beaches. I grew up on the rocks. I grew up on St. John's, by St. John's AME. That's where my house is. My
Oh,
home is.
oh, right, right,
So
right.
I grew up off the rocks. I grew up diving off the rocks and swimming on off the rocks. So I was never a beach boy.
fair enough. Like, pick whatever interests you, whether it's diving off the rocks or the beach or fishing,
Mhm.
it's all island vibes.
That's right.
I'm
That's
telling
right. Yes,
you.
yes, yes.
So tell us about some things that about infertility that I see we had three highlighted points of
Yeah.
infertility,
Mhm.
pregnancy loss, and high risk pregnancies.
Yeah. And as we dive into this conversation, I kind of want to provide a trigger warning that
Okay.
as we go through this topic, if these things, if these traumas are something that you've personally experienced, then you may have a sense of discomfort, unease as we go through these conversations. And
Okay.
I'll, of course, withhold providing things that of medical nature that might be significantly triggering. So I'm going to be mindful of what I'm sharing.
Right.
Also, if you do experience a level of discomfort and unease that's substantial, if you need to pause and come back to this conversation when you're feeling more apt to, or when you're kind of coming into it a bit more baseline, then feel
Right.
free to do so. Just pay attention to your body, pay attention to your mood, and really honor what you might need as we go through this conversation. So I kind of wanted to start off with that kind of
Definitely.
caveat before we dive into talking about infertility.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah,
no
yeah.
problem.
That's awesome.
That's a good disclaimer.
Exactly. Good disclaimer. And
Yes.
so as we move into this conversation about infertility, my husband and I are one of the many couples, many individuals where infertility just nuzzled its way into our lives and we were not
Wow.
ready. We were not prepared. We were not expecting it. It did not come up as something that we considered would be our experience. We were highly naive about
Right.
just how frequently this does come up. One
Mm.
in five one in five
Wow.
women experience infertility.
Wow.
One
Mm.
in five. And there are men that experience it as well, but I'll be talking more so from the perspective of the female, right, who
Okay.
experienced it, right?
Okay.
And so after 5 years of trying and trying, we flew out to Boston and saw the medical professionals and got the assessments. And they were like, so your situation is as bad as it gets in layman terms. So you need to do IVF, you need to do donor eggs, and even with that, we're not too sure how successful you'll be.
Right.
So they were pretty blatantly honest, because at
Wow.
30 years old, your fertility levels start to decline. 30,
Wow.
Wow.
30 is young.
Well, it
Yes, it
is.
is.
But is it, I wonder what was that? Is that the body change and just it's just not the same as the sense of maybe able to hold a child? Like what causes that to happen?
Well, before you answer that,
Uh,
you think about it. You had Kaya at 30,
oh,
and she destroyed you.
that was my hardest pregnancy.
That was your
Mm,
hardest pregnancy. So if you
Hmm.
think about it,
mm,
30 would be a
mhm,
viable age because when you was like, I don't know if I want to have any more children after this because
Yeah, it was hard.
she was a big girl.
yeah.
She was
Hmm.
almost 10 pounds,
Hmm.
and she pretty much like
I
really
was a
hurt
whole
you.
different
You
looking
was
Yeah.
person.
miserable. You was miserable.
Mhm, mhm.
So that makes sense. That 30, yeah,
Wow.
Yeah,
But I
30
looked
is
up a couple of things and it said that age was like the number one on the list.
yeah.
Oh wow. So is it that you really need to start younger in the sense of getting ready to conceive? I mean, I have children.
Actually, can I ask you a quick question again?
Sure.
I'm sorry. Because I want to ask this because it
Oh,
goes to what she's talking about.
okay.
So you were saying that you like how long have you been married? That's first I want to ask you. How
Yeah,
long
so
have
at
you been
that point, it was 9 years.
you was married 9 years?
Mhm.
Yeah, we weren't in a rush. We were enjoying life, and then for the
Gotcha.
past 5, we kept on trying and getting frustrated and pausing and trying and getting so yeah, so we did about 5 years of giving it a shot,
Oh
and
And
wow.
then so
and
that's
mind you
when you realized like after so like 5 years in and then you just realized this not happening. There's gotta be something wrong.
yeah, yeah,
Okay. That's what I
and
want to ask about because you
mhm,
said about going you went straight into you went for the IVF, but
yeah,
I want to find out how long did you go before you realized that there's something not right here.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. And mind you, none of this will be medical advice. So there are some doctors that recommend that depending on your age, that after 6 months, after a year, you
Hmm.
go in to get assessment. So again, that's beyond my specific specialty.
Right.
So I'll be speaking
Right.
as a counselor and
Right.
someone has experienced it personally. But what
Hmm.
I can say is that I know that at 30 years old, that's what they informed me that
Oh
it
wow.
starts to
Okay.
decline. That
Wow.
being said, I think that you shouldn't rush to have a kid until you know that you want to have a kid
That's true.
because that's a life altering decision,
Oh
and so
definitely.
it's more so just being mindful of the landscape that you're moving into
You're
as
right.
you're making these decisions, because sometimes women, myself included, just aren't aware of just how
Right.
rapidly things shift, and then by
Right.
35 they call you some doctors, I think it's such a harsh term, call you a geriatric patient at
Oh
35.
wow.
Mm,
Oh my gosh.
wow.
And if
Wow.
you think about how life has changed at 30 and 35, a lot of us, especially as women, are finding ourselves, we're
Mhm.
Right.
enjoying our relationships. You may have career goals, financial goals, travel goals, personal
Right.
goals that we're knee deep in. And so we may not want to disrupt all of those things that are giving us passion and an excitement to have a child. And
Wow.
that's what we're finding a lot of women. We're kind of pausing the childbirth element because we just want to even work on our wellness and who we are, our mental health before
Right.
moving into pregnancy, so that we can break some of these generational curses.
Definitely.
Right?
Yes. True.
And so
Wow.
that is why I am one of the many women that found infertility knocking at our door and not wanting to answer.
Wow. How did you deal with the fact of them saying, you can't have a kid right now unless you go through all of those different things. Like emotionally, how did you deal with it?
Yeah. So initially it was shocking. No one is expecting to hear these types of reports. I'm
Right.
very physically healthy, especially at that point. I'm like, I run half marathons, I eat very clean. There's nothing wrong with my health. And I do have a clean bill of health, except for when it came to my womb, right?
Right. Yeah.
Mm.
So there was a lot of shock, and then kind of going right into action planning once I kind of was able to process and acknowledge those emotions. So
Hmm.
what does IVF treatment look like? What could we do? Getting our head around the price tag of $30,000
Wow.
around,
Wow.
and knowing that it's a gamble
Around.
per try.
Mercy.
And
So
yeah, and there's
what?
variation, but that's the average cost.
Wow. And
Wow.
that means that is not even a guarantee that it could take.
No, in fact, they say it's cumulative. So each time you try, you're more
Right.
likely to get pregnant the next time. So you can have 2, 3, 4 rounds. So it's worth
Whoa.
that by
That's
30,000.
a house.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
But it's amazing how women, when you get to a certain point in your life, you want kids.
yeah.
And sometimes that's all you think about when you see other people
Mhm.
with babies,
Yes,
shows. Because
yes,
when I lost my first baby, I
yeah,
kept watching the baby show and
yeah.
everything, just everything that connected to kids. And it's amazing how
Mhm,
it emotionally
mhm.
affects you because you're like, am I going to be able to have kids? Is it ever going to happen? Especially if you're married to somebody that already have children.
Yeah, yeah.
So you even want it even more. Man.
Mhm,
So that
mhm.
was gonna be my next question, actually. So how would when this is all going on for yourself, the emotional that was on you, how did it filter down to your husband, and how did he handle it?
My husband's amazing.
Mm.
He is incredible. So my husband is and I have a relationship where we can talk about our thoughts, feelings, and
Wow.
emotions quite candidly, quite openly, quite frankly. And
Mhm.
so we process a lot. And although it was traumatic, it was something that if you let it, it actually brought us closer, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think that he
Yes.
was actually bringing your thoughts, bringing your concerns, bringing your unfiltered experiences to your partner,
Right.
because things like this have a tendency of taking you farther from each other or bringing you closer to each other. So
Definitely.
Right.
keeping those lines of communications open is a critical part of it. And that's one of the things in terms of, okay, so what might women experience, right? As they kind of move through the infertility.
Right.
They can experience the relational problems if their partner maybe isn't as supportive, or if they are feeling guilt about, man, if they have a lot of preconceived notions of my identity, my role as a woman is to give kids. And if I can't do that, what is my purpose?
Right.
What is
Right.
my function in this relationship, right?
Mhm.
There can
Right.
be those type of thoughts and feelings that women experience. It could experience your sex life if you are having to do treatments that you're getting injections and hormones and pulling out your calendar and basal thermometers and am I ovulating, and like sex can move from this spontaneous, exciting
Right.
experience to this kind of timed
Mhm. Yeah.
Scheduled.
medical experiment, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so just being very aware of how these things can be coming online. And then the cultural stigma, because then people can be asking you, so when are you having kids? You
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I
make
hate
great parents, or
I
when you
hate that.
get a sibling. And
Yeah.
you don't know what people are going through.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's the hard part right there.
Yeah.
You
Because
don't
They
know.
it,
did
it
that.
make you
They did
question
that.
yourself
They did
and
that to us. They
mhm.
Yeah,
did that to us.
You
And
even
after
made
the
I,
first kid, they was like, "When you having the second?
like we
there
can't
When you
you
do
having the third?" I'm like,
go.
"Wait, are you having these children all week?" But
Yeah,
beyond that, when you had your ectopic pregnancy, that was definitely like, are you going to be able to get pregnant again?
yeah.
You
Mhm,
know, that
mhm.
you was what she just said. You definitely went through that. Like
I
you
did.
was so on 10. Like I want to have a baby so bad.
I was sitting to the point like out there, you know, after we had sex, I'm putting my legs up in the air. I'm
Yes.
just being serious. I put my legs up in the
I can't believe
air.
you told us. I was see. I know people would
What?
say
We
that.
said we being real and raw. I'm dead
We are
serious.
being real.
I did that.
Yep.
I'm like, because that's how bad I wanted it. I'm
Yeah.
like, I wanted to stay in there when it's going to happen.
Mhm.
And we went through that for a good 2 years before we had our son.
Yeah.
But we wasn't trying.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
Because the
that was
desire,
us.
yeah, the desire, I'm hearing you say the desire for me was so strong.
it was.
Yeah.
And just being faced with the unknown can be
Hmm.
scary and traumatic
It
and
can be.
cause such unease
Mhm.
because you're like, what's gonna come next? I have no idea. And this is one of the
Mhm.
biggest parts, one of the things that I'm desiring more than anything else, and I don't know if it's gonna be my experience.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you bring spirituality in, and it becomes, okay, so God, hi. What are you doing here?
Like, what
This
do
is
you
not
have in my plan? Like, is the children gonna be there
yeah.
or not? And I know God also bless people to not have children, and maybe to help someone else to have kids, but in reality, I think all women want kids at some
So
point in
real
their
quick,
life.
that's actually a point that I wanted to bring up. So while you was going through this,
Mhm.
because I know this always happens, while you're going through this, probably all your friends and family friends and
Having
cousins
babies,
and we're having babies, just popping babies, pop, 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 pop. And
Yeah.
that just had to add on to the
the stress.
anxiety and the
Mhm.
stress that you was feeling
Mhm.
Yes.
while you was trying to have kids.
And I want to say two things. I want to acknowledge that some women want kids, and some women are maternal and desiring of it, and some
Okay.
are in this place of being unsure, and that's okay. And
Right.
some are in this place of saying, I know absolutely, I don't want any kids, and that's
Right.
absolutely okay. And
That's
so
Two.
I just want to kind of normalize for women, no matter where you are in the spectrum, from
Mhm.
absolutely no way, never happening, to I'm deeply desiring it. Anywhere in that spectrum, that's okay. And
right.
infertility can sometimes cause you to kind of vacillate and kind of move back and forth in that spectrum as well, because you're just not sure what your reality is going to be, right?
Right.
Right.
And so your piece of, man, how do you do with that when everyone around you's popping babies, having number two, having number three,
I know.
baby showers, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of want to encourage women to put up whatever boundaries you need to put up.
Yeah.
Right.
I had to say no to a close friend that was having a baby shower. And I
Wow.
had to say, I'm so, so sorry. Right now, that's actually a trigger for me.
Right.
I would
Yeah.
love to attend, but right now, I think it's going to actually cause me a bit of discomfort.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
You got it.
Wow.
And she
Right.
was okay with that.
Mhm.
That's good. That's a good friend.
There you go. People that care about you and
That's a
want
good
your best
friend.
interest
Exactly. That's why I
will
want to point.
get
That's
it.
a good friend.
Yeah, we'll get it. If it
Hmm.
means staying
Wow.
off of social media when there's certain anniversary, like Mother's Day coming up,
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
staying
Well,
off
you
of
know
social
what? That,
media.
that that's I feel for women that's
Yeah,
trying to have children and really
yeah.
want them,
Mhm,
because I know a couple of women that went through some experiences. And my mother, I think she told me that she experienced having fibroids before she had
mhm, mhm,
children, because she lost two
mhm.
twins before she actually had me and my sister.
Wow.
So I was like, how? Because I was wondering, because it didn't happen with us, I don't think, when she had us. Like, do it just
Mhm.
come with each child fibroid? Do you know anything about that?
Um, Not that I can speak, well, I do know something about it, but I don't wanna move into a medical space where I'm
Okay.
giving misinformation, but I
Right.
Right. Right.
have, as a clinician and a counselor, talked with women that have experienced fibroid challenges, and that being a part of their infertility story, and then having to consider, surgery. Do I get it
Right.
surgically removed?
Right.
Will that improve my chances? And
Right.
so one tip that I actually wanna give to women who are battling infertility is to find ways to have a strong connection with your body,
Right.
because your body becomes moved from this thing that is yours to
Mhm.
now this big scientific experiment where you're practicing or trying different strategies and interventions to see what might work. And
Mhm.
you can unconsciously start to turn inward towards your body where you're experiencing it as something that you have shame towards,
Right.
something that you dislike,
Mhm.
Yeah.
that you're angry at
Yeah.
Hmm.
because it's not doing what I want it to do.
Yes.
Mm.
And
Wow.
so if you can find some way of having a physical connection with your body, whether that's exercise, whether that's deep breathing, right? Whether that's giving yourself a self massage or going to get a massage, putting in positive deposits into your body that is
Definitely.
also going along this journey with you is
Mhm.
so critical,
Yeah.
especially if you're
Or
doing these medical interventions that are taking withdrawals from your body, right?
Yes. Yes.
You gotta put those deposits back in and cherish our body because there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
or they can get counseling as to talk to you or to somebody else that's a licensed or that is in that profession
Absolutely.
Yeah.
that you are in. You know, to have somebody, because I think just like as a male, we
Yeah.
know we always feel like we have nobody to talk to.
Mhm.
And when
Mhm.
you go in,
Mhm.
I'm not a woman, but I'm just giving an opinion of a sense of from what I hear from knowing from Tara.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If she just had that idea that I can go talk to somebody,
Yes.
that it would help her. So I usually try to
Mm.
get her to talk, or
Mhm.
like, let's go
Mhm.
talk to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
You need to talk to somebody, because that
Yes.
sometimes just getting it off your chest and just telling somebody
Mhm.
that can maybe give you a point of view that you didn't even think about,
Right.
or
Yes.
like consider, or
Absolutely.
thing will definitely just help you in a long way with the
Mhm.
process of going through their infertility and the loss and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. And there's been some research that even shows that for some women, it can actually enhance your results
mhm.
because we know when it comes to trying to get pregnant, being relaxed
Right.
is essential. That's why you heard so many stories, and mine is one of them as we'll get to that point. But when
Okay.
you stop trying, you got pregnant,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That's yeah.
Because you've relaxed, you've
Mm-hmm.
calmed, you found ease.
Mm-hmm.
Just let go what you may needed to have let go in that moment just to find peace. And so
Right.
there's for some women a mind body connection to this process as well,
Mhm.
right? And so
Right.
for all of these things, infertility, pregnancy loss, high risk pregnancies, all these things we'll talk about. Therapy is an essential tool. Um,
Right.
I walk women through that are experiencing these things, and we process their stories, we process their trauma, we talk about tools that they can use for all of these experiences. And as you
Right.
can imagine, you could do a podcast on just one of these. So you won't be able to get very in depth with tools for each three because
Right.
there's so much to be said for
Yeah.
each
It's a
one,
big
right?
topic. Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
that is why therapy is such a crucial way of being able to support you the same way that you would go to a doctor for fertility, right?
Right.
Being
Right.
a therapist is just as essential.
Wow.
Yeah.
Would you say that a woman that is just not working out, would you suggest maybe having like adoption a child? I mean, adopting a kid to maybe kind of help, I guess, heal that part of not having a child? Would you recommend a woman to do that in therapy, or you wouldn't?
I never recommend a life choice for someone, but what I
Okay.
would do is process the pros and the cons of both,
Okay.
Gotcha.
processing what that means for her and seeing
Hmm.
if that's a viable option,
Right.
kind of processing the different avenues. So if we do go in this direction, what might the outcome look like?
Right.
And if
Oh
we don't
wow.
go, so we'll kind of process the options and then will allow the woman to really tune into herself and ask herself what she
Hmm.
That
thinks is in
yeah.
the best interest for herself. And if she doesn't know the answer, being able to say, and I don't know right now, and that's okay. I don't have to have all the answers right now. I can get
Hmm.
used to being uncomfortable with the unknown. And I think that's the most important piece about all of these elements is
Right.
there's so much uncertainty. So how do
Hmm.
you find peace? How do you find self compassion and
Yes.
skills when you don't know what the end of the story is going to look like?
Wow.
Right.
So when did you find out you finally had the twins? Like, when did you?
Oh, yeah. So even before we got to the twins, we found out that we were pregnant really after I let go of getting pregnant.
Oh,
So
wow.
after finding out the information on fertility treatment and my husband and I going through a season of prayer and just tuning in and finding out what our next step, we,
Mhm.
we clearly heard God saying that path wasn't for us. And I,
Yeah.
I did not want to hear that. I'm like,
Yeah.
how did we really have? How could you? But we let go, we released it, and we just
Mhm.
moved to a space of accepting whatever our life path would look like, finding
Wow.
radical acceptance, and
Yes.
Yes.
and painting a story of what that life could look like if we didn't have kids, which is a form of narrative therapy, right? What is the story I'm telling myself about if
Right.
I can't have kids? I'm telling myself I'm going to be depressed. I'm going to be alone in my old age. My life isn't going to have any meaning, right?
Yeah.
The part of narrative therapy is asking myself, what am I telling myself? How is the
Mhm.
story impacting me? Do I have
Right.
evidence that this is true? And can I rewrite this story? So after
Right.
kind of going through these processes, I kind of found, you know, acceptance and said, okay, I guess I may just be a dog mom. I was looking up dog breeds. I'm like Boston Terrier it is. They don't shed too much. And surprise, boom, we got pregnant.
Oh, wow.
That sounds. You remember those books back in the day that we used to read? I don't know if you're kind of young, Tara, so I don't know. And
Whatever.
your young sister, you may not know it. Remember those books where you could read and then it would say, go to page 22 or go to page
Yeah.
30.
Yeah.
So you had options. You had, go different ways, and
Uh-huh.
then and then you read some more, and then they say go to page 50 or go to page 75.
Yeah.
You don't even know what book I'm talking about, do
I
you?
don't.
Yeah, I told you she wouldn't know. That's what, like, that's how I take it when you're talking
Yeah.
about the choices, and trying
Yes.
to, you have a whole outlay of what you
Yeah.
plan to do or what you can
Yeah.
do, rewriting your narrative as you go along.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's not what happens to us, it's how we respond
Yes.
That
to
is so
what is
true.
happening to us.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can take the same trauma and let it wreck my life and never
Yes.
recover and just remain heartbroken. Or I can acknowledge those feelings when they come online, but I can
Right.
actually redirect it to a life where I can find peace. I can still find purpose. I can reshift my identity from I may not be a mom, but here are the other parts of my identity that
Mhm.
support it,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
that work is what allowed the peace
Mhm.
for then our pregnancy to
To
recover.
happen.
That and God, just to be, you
Yeah.
know.
That is
So
so
how
true you
did
said
you?
that.
Well, real quick on our end, when, like you said, she had the topic and then she was stressing, and then I think at some point she actually just became very calm,
Cuz I said I
and we
wasn't going to
didn't.
stress about it
Right, and
anymore.
then we didn't even know she was pregnant. We found out because we went out for our anniversary,
Yeah.
and she got sick eating, and
Uh,
we didn't think nothing
I
of
didn't think
it.
nothing of it.
We didn't think nothing of it. Like, I'll be honest, back in the day, she had a daiquiri, and
yeah.
and it made her sick, and she's like, "Why
Yeah.
am I so sick?" And we didn't put two and two together, because we're
Of
like,
course.
'cause
Yeah.
at that point we're not, because like you said, we had to let go,
Yes.
because we wasn't like, am I pregnant? No,
Right.
it never even
Yes.
crossed our mind. We just was like, oh, I'm
Yes.
sick. Why am
Yeah.
I feeling this way? I just want to get through the day, enjoy our
Mhm.
anniversary. We went
Mhm.
sightseeing, we did a couple of things,
Yeah.
and then when we went home, she woke up the next morning, she was sick again, and she said, let
Yeah.
me just think, and she went and did
And there it was.
and then there it was, and she got mad at me because of my response. I'm sure your husband didn't react this way. She came running into the room, and she was like, wake up, I'm pregnant. And I looked at it and I said, that's nice, and I turned over and went back to
Go back
sleep.
to sleep.
I was not happy with that response.
Fair enough. You were
Yeah,
thrilled. You were
but yeah,
excited. And it
Yeah,
sounds
so
like
I
when you
agree when you say you let go and
yeah,
just, you know what, I'm gonna let go and let God if it's meant for it to
yeah,
happen. And I just start putting my mind towards other things.
yeah.
Maybe I go to school, maybe I'll do this or
Mhm,
that.
mhm.
And once that happened, I would suggest to all women, it's not easy,
Yeah.
but what happened?
plug in your computer.
Oh, it's about to die. Sorry. And it's not easy, but when you let go and let God, you'll be amazed what he can do,
Yeah.
what doors he can open up for you.
Absolutely. And I don't want to minimize the therapeutic work that went into getting to that space, which is
Oh
why
no.
therapy is critical. But I
Mhm.
do want to offer hope in this
Yes.
conversation that
Yes.
you can feel better. You can find purpose and meaning and
Hmm.
advancement despite being in a space that you have no control over what's going to happen next. And
Right.
so that's the season that brought us into getting pregnant and just being over the moon and excited. It was my
Wow.
first pregnancy ever, so I was just
Oh
just
wow.
thrilled
Wow.
about this miracle. The doctor said we couldn't get pregnant, and look what God did. I pulled out the trunk of baby items that I had, and then a few months later, we experienced pregnancy loss.
Wow.
Mm.
Okay, because
Oh,
I was gonna ask that question, because I didn't know you. I knew part of the story.
yeah,
Did you tell people right away, or because some people say I'm waiting for the first trimester and then I'm
yeah,
gonna say
yeah,
something?
yeah. I was so in belief that God would not let his daughter lose a child.
Mhm.
That you was,
I
yeah,
just went
okay,
all
out.
in.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
I went all in. I didn't make announcements immediately, but we did share with just key family, and my job did know
Right.
because I was just so thrilled.
Right.
Yes.
We just could not keep the excitement of this miracle to ourselves.
Yes.
So um, the loss was something again that many of us as women experience. And it wasn't until I began talking about this loss of our baby that I've heard from so many women that said, wow, me too. I
Wow.
haven't told anyone. But
Wow.
me too. I experienced a loss 10 years ago. I
Wow.
Mhm.
experienced a loss 20 years ago. I
Wow.
Yes.
experienced a loss a year ago.
Mm.
People that you don't even think, people who don't even know.
Hmm.
Wow.
And because it's become such a taboo thing,
Yeah.
and because as women, there's this unconscious message that we did something wrong,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
which
Blaming
is why,
ourselves.
yeah, which is why I don't even like the terminology loss, because you didn't really lose your child, right?
Yeah.
You carried your child with love. The terminology miscarriage, right? That you
Mm.
miscarried your child. So even the language that we use, it can kind of convey the message to women that they've done something wrong, right?
Yeah.
And so I just want to offer women just the normalcy that you are not alone if you've experienced this. That
Yeah.
there are so
Definitely.
many of us, yeah, that have walked through this just tragic experience of not just having a trauma, but having a trauma that takes place in your body,
Yes.
and that's very unique.
Mm-hmm.
Feeling your baby, or even if your baby didn't get to the point where you could actually feel your baby, which brings me to this. I heard a lot of women saying, well, the baby was only 4 or 5 weeks. So, I shouldn't be this upset. And I offer you, love is love.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
There's
Definitely.
no timeline.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Love doesn't know timeline. So whether you were in love for a week, a month, whether
Or a
you were
day.
in love for, right, yeah, for 18 weeks, whatever,
Yeah.
a
Mhm.
mother's love is a powerful force.
I'm telling you.
Yeah,
Wow.
because like for your instance, the baby never got out your fallopian tube.
Yeah, because I was like, can you just push it out? Like,
Yeah,
could you just
yeah,
could
yeah.
you push it and put it inside of the uterus so it can start growing? They was like,
Exactly.
nope.
Yeah.
And wow, you never forget it either. It's
No.
just like it stays with you, as time go on. But then I also make you appreciate
Mm-hmm.
that yes, I lost something, but God has showed me strength in
Mm.
the process. And not
Mhm.
everybody, I can't keep saying God for everybody because not everybody
Yep.
believe.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
but people have they believe in something. So
Mhm.
they got
Whatever
hope
the power is.
or
Yeah.
people around them that may be encouraging them to get through the process. So I would say be around some positive people that's going to help you
Mhm.
walk through the process.
Mhm.
You know?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
you said you lost you had a loss.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So then what was the process then? Because now you're pretty much going like a roller coaster. You went up, you came down, you're going up, you come
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
kind of leveled off because you got pregnant. So you're like, okay, it's leveled off. I'm good.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have this baby. I'll be good to go. And then poof.
Yeah. So if I can just speak to some of the emotions that women experience when there is a
Definitely.
pregnancy loss,
Hmm.
whether it's, I find that my clients, the feeling I hear the most is utter shock,
Mm.
Yes.
utter disbelief. It
Yeah.
takes a while for the body to literally, the mind to, and the body to literally process that your child is no longer here.
Yeah.
Yes.
There is a constant kind of reevaluation. Is this real? Is this a bad dream? I don't understand, because already saw you growing up. I was thinking of what school you were to go to. I was
Yes.
already dreaming about you. I already saw you in the clothes like you were here. So how are you no longer here? So it
Yeah.
can be extremely disorienting and can result in feelings of numbness,
Yes.
because there's just so much feeling that my mind and body needs to tap out because I can't process it at all. I can't
Yes.
process it all.
Mm.
And so exhaustion, and then roller coaster. There may be moments where you are feeling at baseline, and then moments where you are, just sobbing uncontrollably because of the various triggers that you might experience. Someone coming up to you in church and saying, "Hey, how's the pregnancy going?" Or, "Oh,
Honestly.
you're gonna have kids? You make such a great mom,"
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So all of the triggers that you might encounter in your everyday life, right? So trying to navigate it, and guilt that, maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I shouldn't have carried, maybe I put too much in my purse, or maybe I exercised too much, or
Hmm.
we tend to take on the blame that doesn't belong to us.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. You're right.
It doesn't belong to us.
Can I with that dealing with different clients, um, deal like because you can lose, when you have the loss of a baby, the
Mhm.
loss of pregnancy loss. There's so many different ways.
Yeah.
So when you was talking about like the mental part and just like you playing
Yeah.
it over in your head, is it also do you also take it? I know you do this, but take into effect where how they lost the baby because you could
Yeah.
miscarriage or you
Yeah.
get stillborn, or you can,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, and because that is going to trigger different aspects with
Yeah.
different women.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, and can I just talk about the different ways that loss might occur? It may be anything from a miscarriage. Again, I hate that terminology.
right, yeah, right,
Where your baby is no longer able to survive, right?
mhm,
And there's an aspect there. It may be a loss, and I want to also bring this to the table where there may be an abortion.
Yeah.
It's
yes,
also still a loss,
Yeah.
right?
it is,
Just
yes,
because a woman makes that choice, it doesn't mean that it's a choice that she wants to make in every
Yeah.
situation. And
Yeah.
so she's still experiencing a loss and added guilt and added shame and
Mhm.
added, did I make the right choice? And a whole load of pressure on her shoulders, right?
Mhm.
And then there's medical abortions where I have to make this decision because my life might be at risk,
Right.
hmm,
or there may be some chromosomal abnormalities that I'm informed of, and then I'm making that decision.
Right.
right,
So there's so many different ways. And I must say that I find common, almost like PTSD for some women, post-traumatic stress
Wow.
disorder,
Right.
reactions, no matter how that woman has experienced that loss. The loss feels like loss, no
Yeah.
matter how
mm,
you've experienced it. There's
Mhm.
individual, of course, experiences, but boy, we have similar experiences.
Yeah.
see that you just brought up a point that as a man, I would never even thought about as an abortion being a
Yeah.
loss.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just being honest. I would never
Yeah.
thought
Yeah.
of it because my first thought would be like you were saying sometimes the woman wants to have the abortion, but the man doesn't want the woman to have
Yeah.
the abortion.
Yeah.
So then the man now can go through a little bit of that
Mhm. Mhm.
PTSD, you know. But I mean, I just never thought of it as like a loss until you
Yeah.
just brought that up. That is so
Yeah.
true. Wow, I
Mhm.
didn't think of that.
Yeah. And that's why I wanted to intentionally like kind of illustrate the different types
Mhm.
of loss because I think it's something that is misunderstood as
Yes.
this woman just feeling great about this decision that she's making. And there might be women where that is the case. I'm not,
Yeah.
of course, speaking for every woman, every situation, but
Yeah.
I will say that there are some that, that I've counseled that experience it as a traumatic level of loss. And
Yeah.
so I just really want to ask women to allow themselves to acknowledge the emotions that they're experiencing
Hmm.
Mhm.
and to utilize radical self compassion, radical self love, and know that your feelings are neither good nor bad. They
Yeah.
just exist.
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
They
Okay.
just exist and they float in and out the same way that our clouds float overhead. Your sadness may float in and out. Your happiness may float in and out. Your anxiety may float in and out. That they just come in and out of our lives and that our emotions are neither good nor bad. And that if you find yourself having a moment of peace and happiness, you don't have to feel guilty about it. That
Mhm.
means that you didn't love your kid enough to be mourning them and
Yes.
in a way where you have to stay upset. It's almost like an unconscious way of playing penance, where I
Yeah.
have to be upset to show how much I love you.
Mhm.
I have to just allow myself to stay in that constant state of mourning. And you hear this often for veterans who they go to war, they have, um, um, people that they work alongside, soldiers that they form these amazing bonds, and
Right.
they die and they come back and they feel like they have to stay in a constant state of mourning. When I've talked to some, a constant state of mourning, because if they find happiness, it's almost like they've forgotten their part
Yeah.
of
True.
God more.
That is true.
Wow.
Yeah.
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 And so I just want to encourage women to move and acknowledge the emotions, breathe through it, cry through it, move through it, create art through it, talk through it, journal through it, pray with it, worship, whatever your spiritual element is, dance through it, sing through it, whatever
Yeah.
you need to do, but move through it because eventually the feelings will come and go. And there's no timeline to
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
There's no timeline. It's
Talking about that,
absolutely
that
so
like with this podcast, we've learned talking about things
yes.
has helped our relationship and helped
Mhm.
us
Mhm.
to be more open with each other and help us to be more communicative towards each other.
Mhm.
And what you was just talking about women, like you'd be surprised, like if you just, I think even women do this where they don't want to tell their story because they just feel ashamed. But there's
Mm.
so many other women out there that's going through the same
Mhm.
thing that you're going through, and you don't know who you could be helping or who just one person.
Yeah.
but you don't know, who you could be helping or what you could be, bring. Even if it brings pain to that person, they may still have a thought of like, I need help, or maybe
Yeah.
I need to go talk to somebody.
Hmm.
You just never know what you expressing your story to other people
That's right.
will do.
But I think a woman have to accept it for themselves first
No,
Mm-hmm.
no, yes,
before they're
yes,
able to
yes, yeah,
then
definitely.
share
Yeah, I'm not saying
in a
just,
public
as soon as
way.
it happened, be like, oh, this what happened to me.
Hmm.
'Cause that's
Hmm.
that's rare. That's not going to be the case. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm talking about a woman that when she can, can it's not accept but deal with the loss.
Yes.
Now she can express to other people about her
Yeah.
loss
Yeah.
Yeah.
and hope, of helping somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that initial sharing may be within your tribe,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, most time,
Mhm.
family's the worst. I'm not trying to be funny, but family's the worst because they, it's like sometimes, like when somebody passes away,
Yeah.
sometimes you don't have to say anything. I
Yeah.
think people in general feel like they always have to say something.
Yeah.
You don't always got to say anything. Just be there. Let
Mhm.
the person grieve and cry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then when that moment comes, they ask you a question, you answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Just be there.
just be there, because sometimes just being there is comfort enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listening
Yeah.
in.
You
Yeah.
know.
And your tribe may not be family.
Oh,
So
you're
I'm
right.
happy you
That's
said
true.
that, because when you said tribe, my thought was the people that you handpick.
Yes.
True. True. True.
Handpicked to be a part of your inner circle, your inner space, your sacred space of healing.
You know,
And
I
those
probably never thought of that because I don't have an inner circle that big. I have a very small inner circle. I mean, I
look,
really do.
But that's okay.
I have a
that is,
very,
yeah, absolutely.
it's only a few people I talk to on a regular basis. I mean, really small,
And it's not
minuscule.
about the size, it's about the intimacy.
Yes,
Yes.
It's
you're right
about the
about that.
trust.
You're right.
And
You're right
so
about
I'm the
that.
same way. I don't have a huge inner circle,
Yes.
Right.
right? I'm super selective. I could have
Yes.
either one, but I'm super selective,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so you got to honor your story with the people
Yeah.
Yeah.
that you feel comfortable with.
True.
Mm-hmm.
That is so true.
Absolutely.
That is
Hmm.
so
How do you deal with men? Do men come to you talking about how they feel about loss of their wife maybe losing a child or decision making of maybe just want to have an abortion? Like have you how do men do? I know you probably focusing more on women,
Yeah.
but I guess I kind of want to touch on a little bit of men because men feel that too. Like
Yeah.
what do they come to you saying about?
Yeah. So you're right. I focus mostly on females. That's a population that I feel called to serve,
Right.
is females. But I will say in general that a lot of the tools that we're talking about here and a lot of the feelings you can copy and paste, and we're still talking about men as well.
Oh, definitely.
Some of the shame,
Mm-hmm.
right? Feelings of guilt. Is there something that I did? Did that argument cause her? Did I stress her so much? Man, it was high. She had high blood pressure. Did I contribute to that? The stress, the high blood pressure. So there's ways in which these same emotions can be accessed. So when I think about what my clients have shared from their partners, there's that same initial numbing of I
Yeah.
can't, that same initial disbelief, right? So
Mm-hmm.
these are like universal human emotions that are
Mm-hmm.
commonly experienced by both genders.
Mm-hmm.
I think that probably the biggest thing I hear from women that they need in these moments is they just need to be held, loved, nurtured, and reassured.
Yes.
Held,
Wow.
loved, nurtured, and reassured, and be given grace that she's not going to be back at baseline for quite some time.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's what you might not be either,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so giving each other the abundance of grace.
Yes.
Where there
Yes.
might be things you would have like nitpicked on or hopped onto an argument, just
Mm-hmm.
being able to slow it down, kind of really assess, is what
Right.
I'm about to be, is what I'm about to say necessary in this moment? Is it helping, healing, or is it destroying and tearing down?
Yeah, because one thing I would think I see now, a lot of people wait until later to have children in life.
Yeah.
Now, I sometimes wonder why do people wait so late now, knowing the high risk that comes with it and age and all of that.
Mhm.
So I guess for me, I, I guess I can't say I recommend people to have children at a younger age because, like you said, people have goals and stuff
Yeah.
that they want to reach,
Mhm.
but the chances that you take for waiting, do you express that with women that you talk to?
Not necessarily, because I never want the woman to think that it's her choice that led her to that circumstances, because
Mhm,
that will contribute to feelings of guilt and shame.
Mm-hmm.
But
mhm,
I will honor that she intuitively chose a time that was best for her. And
Mm,
that's really critical. That
mm,
everything, especially when it comes to kids, is about timing. So I talk to them, and some of them do have career goals because they want to make sure that they're not struggling financially as a family. Some
yeah.
are working through their own childhood trauma.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so they are not sure if they can mother in a way that's healthy because they were not mothered in a way that was healthy. They were
Yes,
not nurtured by a father. They don't even know what being a parent looks like. So why am I jumping into it if I'm not ready for it?
that's true.
Wow.
And so
Wow,
they're
That
that's
is
just
so
I'm
true.
glad you bring that up.
yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
because that's one thing about with women. Like, you guys go through so much, and then to bring a child into the world, and not even it's not even about being financially. It is about just being physically, mentally, spiritually. It's like it's a host of different factors you have to take in that you are ready to do.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Because unfortunately, some women are can have children are not motherly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I
Mhm.
mean, I see it in my profession. That's why I say this. I see it in my profession.
Yeah.
I go out, and women got like 6 kids, and
Mm-hmm.
you could just see she's not physically or mentally ready to have all these kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
So we hold compassion and we say, wow, it
Yeah.
must have been so rough for you that when you were growing up, perhaps you weren't nurtured in a way, but
Hmm.
Yeah.
now you know how to do that for yourself
Yeah.
first
Yes.
and then to do that with someone else, right?
Yeah.
I'm
Wow.
so sorry that was your experience. So let's talk about how you can mother yourself first.
Yeah.
You
Hmm.
can be your first mother to yourself first.
True. True.
That will
Wow.
enable you to then be it for your children.
Self care.
Yeah.
Self-care, self-love, self-compassion,
Yes.
self-awareness,
Yeah.
self-honesty.
Yes.
Wow.
That's probably the biggest one.
I
That
would
gets you a
say
long
so.
way. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
real
I
self.
say
See,
I
go ahead.
go ahead. Oh, no, I was saying now that I'm a mother, it's just like I look at my 2 daughters, even my son too,
Yeah,
but I look at my 2 daughters and I say they're gonna be mothers one day.
yeah.
So I'm trying to be that nurturing person for them,
Mhm,
hugging them,
mhm.
talking to them,
Yeah.
and they very, us women, we can be emotional people, which I am. So I'm trying to cut it down a little bit
No
because I
comment.
know the I know the more I am, my daughter's gonna pick up for me, as time go on. So I don't know. You just want to be there
Yeah,
for
yeah,
a woman or for your girls if they experience infertility loss, because
mhm.
it's all connected. Like you said, we want to break the generational curse.
Yes.
We want to make sure that that whatever's broken, we don't carry it along later in life.
Mhm.
But it's hard.
It
It
is.
is.
That's why we have to give ourselves a break for
Mhm.
trying to do the thing that we've never experienced.
Mhm.
So for some of us, and again, that's the importance of therapy because it can feel like you're trying to walk blindly and find a destination that you've never seen, touched, experienced, but yet you're walking blindly trying to create it, right? And
Mhm.
you have to give yourself grace for the moments where you snap and lose it rather than being grounded and patient and engaging your kid the way that you believe is the best, way to do so. You have to
Right.
give yourself so much grace and give yourself kudos for the fact that you are putting the effort into attempting, into trying, into putting one foot in front of the next each day to make
Yeah.
a difference for your children.
Oh,
Yeah, because like as a male, when we first got married, you wanted kids right away, and I was like, be patient,
yeah, you did. I'm
be
glad that you
patient.
said that.
Let's have time because I both my sons were born, and then I got married.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
So like I already had the child there. It was
yeah,
no time.
yeah,
It was no time to connect with
With your
yes,
my
partner.
ex, with my ex partners.
yeah,
Yeah.
So I was saying to Charles, like, we need to just do things.
yeah.
Let's do things
And I'm
because it
glad we did.
changes.
Yeah.
It changes once you have children. And so I was
Mhm.
like, let's just do things. But it caused a little bit of riff in the beginning because
Yeah,
you were so
yeah.
intent on having a
I
kid.
Mhm,
was.
mhm.
She was pushing me, trying to
Yeah,
push the door that way, and I'm trying to keep the door closed.
yeah,
And I'm just like, just be patient. It will
Yeah.
happen when it happened.
Yeah. And
yeah.
it
And
did. And it did. And
yeah,
I'm glad we did because we had the time to spend with each other. And it's
Mhm.
important in
Yes,
marriages or relationship to
yeah.
grab that time together as much as you
that's what she was
can.
talking about with her and what they
Yeah.
they went out
That's
and
why what you
Oh,
and
yeah,
your
her
husband
husband, he
did
enjoys
was
life.
that was amazing. And a
Yeah,
lot of people don't have that opportunity.
yeah, yeah.
but it's not even like you have to go and visit the world. It's
Yeah,
just spend just have
Um,
quality time,
that's
dinner
it.
every night,
That's it. That's
worship every night,
that's it. Routine.
um,
Yeah,
routine, read a book together, or just go for a walk together, just spending
that's
time
right.
and getting to
That's
know
right.
each other.
That's
Because when you're trying to have a child, one of the main things that you need is both of you to be in tune with each other. Because if
Yeah.
one of you is off tune, you're not gonna have that baby's not happening.
You're right.
right.
You're right.
You
Yeah,
know,
you're creating that harmony that you want to welcome your child into. You're
exactly.
creating a
Yeah.
baseline, you're creating a foundation, you're
There you
Yes.
go.
creating a commonality because
Mhm.
you were raised in two different households with two different ideas of what a family even looks like.
Mhm. You're right.
Right? And
Right.
so you're
Yeah.
speaking two different languages here. So
Yeah.
you're
Oh,
trying
that,
to
like
find, was that?
definitely. No, 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 definitely. Because I was Adventist and she was Baptist, so we definitely was on two sides of
Yeah,
Other
yeah,
of
fence.
the fence.
yeah. Yeah, and so that's the beauty of giving your, but is why, these conversations about timing is divine.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Timing is divine. And so if you feel like you've missed the time, that you've done it too late, too early, there's no such thing as perfect timing, right?
Yeah, you're
Definitely.
right.
You
You're right.
just do your best to kind of be in tune with, okay,
Mhm.
is now the moment. Is now the moment.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So on
Wow.
that point, so you had the pregnancy loss, and
yeah.
then how did you deal with that? So did you like feel the need to maybe go back to the IVF, or did you feel the need to, go like, because you said that God said stop, and then
Yeah.
when you had the pregnancy loss, were you then like, okay, I'm gonna try to do it on my own? Was there a period of time when you had that in your head where you
Yeah.
kind of just for a moment, because we're human, we think like that sometimes
Yeah.
when you're emotional, when your emotion is that high, you're like, I'm just gonna try to do this on my own.
Yeah. Yeah. I never revisited, and as a couple, we never revisited IVF once we got that confirmation from God. It
Okay,
Okay.
just we were
gotcha.
so sure that that wasn't the route that God wanted us to take. Again, there's nothing wrong with it. There's not a biblical stance,
No,
no
no,
Bible
no,
steps or
exactly.
nothing behind it.
Right.
It
Right.
just wasn't our
Path.
path, right?
Yeah.
And so I kind of went back to just healing, like just doing the healing work,
Yeah.
finding nourishing, self-soothing routines, pouring over the things that would allow us to be able to um, find stability, find a sense of normalcy again. What does normalcy look
Right.
like after your child is no longer here, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So you're just trying to get the ground under your feet feeling secure, right?
Gotcha.
And so that was the work that we were just really about, was doing a lot of self-nourishing
Yeah.
activities, journaling, exercising, progressive muscle relaxation,
Mhm.
getting massages every now and then, just things that were helping to kind of bring calmness as much as possible and healing, and just being open to that we didn't know what was going to come next, and
Yeah.
just moving through the lament of it all, just crying out to God and being like, "What are you doing?" You know, and just having frank, honest conversations with God and allowing God to talk back to you and connect with you and soothe your heart. And and then it was from that experience that about 6 months later we found out we were pregnant
Mm,
again.
there
Wow.
you
And
go.
you talk about your funny pregnancy kind of story. Our one was me being so tired of taking pregnancy tests. And it was
Oh,
a Monday morning. So I literally did what I need to do on a stick. I said, "Here you go, babe. You can just let me know it's negative. I'm just gonna get ready for work." And he comes, so I'm getting dressed for work. And he comes in from the back room. He says, "You're pregnant." And I say, "Come on. We have 100 of negative pregnancy tests. We only got a positive one. So you have a trash can of negative."
mm.
Wow.
And so I one of the rare stories where my husband told me I was pregnant. I definitely didn't, because I was
Wow.
just like, it's I just had kind of found like it may not be our story.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm just gonna if it's not our story, then all right, let's redefine what our new story is going to be, right? And
Wow.
so we went through the sonograms, and like many women that experience a pregnancy loss, or counting each week, because you know that each week is precious, so you don't take it for granted. And so,
Mhm.
Wow.
as
All
you're
of that.
asking,
Yeah.
trying to get to the second
Yeah, but
trimester,
again, to that second trimester. Yep.
yeah, trying to each week get there, and not telling as many people this time around, because now we know that things can go wrong.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we got into the 18-week sonogram. to find out the gender. Oh, before we got to that, during the first sonogram, I say, so I know that's a baby. I've been here before. What's that other mass over there?
Oh my
Oh,
God.
that's when you
Oh,
found out that it was twins?
yeah.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
Wow.
I, not only God bless you with one, but
Two.
two. I mean, he gave you see, he gave you more than oh my goodness.
More.
There go the story of Job, isn't it? Oh my goodness.
I literally recorded my husband's reaction because this is all COVID, right? So I have to be in the sonogram by myself. He's in the car
Oh,
waiting for me. So I get
Oh
my phone and
no. That's
record.
oh
messed up.
man.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's
Having
messed up.
twins and caught his reaction.
Oh my
It
god.
was just amazing.
Did
And
you so you
Yeah.
videotaped them? Like, did you hand him the
oh,
sonogram and like
completely.
videotape them while you looked at it?
Completely.
Oh, I know
Completely.
you
He
did.
was more
I
shocked than
would
me.
have. Oh
Oh
wow.
my gosh. I get a little teary eyed and just
Mm.
like, oh my
He thought, look, I knew
goodness.
you was pregnant, but two, really?
Yeah, he was, I think, overwhelmed was the first emotion that I saw in his face. Like, oh my
Because
God,
he's probably like,
Wow.
oh goodness, now I gotta take care of two kids. Like
you
what?
got it.
I already know he was thinking.
Oh
Like,
my
man, there's
You
goodness.
got
a
it.
responsibility for a male. One
Yes,
thing about a male, when
that's
they
right.
find that their partner's pregnant,
That's right.
you as a male,
Yes.
most males, not every male,
Yes.
but most males go
Yeah.
into that, okay, I gotta do this, I gotta
Yeah.
provide, I gotta make sure this
Got
is
it.
taken care of, I gotta
Yeah.
make sure that's taken care of.
Yeah.
And you already start thinking as a
Mhm.
male, you start thinking
Mhm.
just like the woman's got the baby and the clothes and
Yes.
how the baby's gonna look. The man's already thinking like, how we gonna do this,
Yeah.
how I'm gonna do that, when I'm gonna, like when we're
Mhm.
gonna, college. We already start thinking of college. The baby's not even here yet.
You're right. And my husband is an amazing provider and very, very much into finances. And
Yes.
so he definitely was, I know, by knowing him, the facial expression I saw was calculating ding 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 ding.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Wow.
We were overjoyed and just
Oh.
thrilled and just basking in again another miracle.
Yes.
And then getting to our 18-week sonogram, we're gonna find out the genders, getting ready for our gender reveal parties. And then the sonographer says, just 1 minute, you need to consult with the doctor. I'll be right back. And I go,
Mhm.
we look at each other and say, okay, I've been there before. That's typically not a good sign.
Yeah.
Long story short, we were informed of some information that kind of revealed that our babies were at risk for being spontaneously delivered. And I won't go into much detail just to avoid any triggers for women
Right.
that have gone through things of this nature.
Right.
But the cliff notes are that we had to fly to Boston, had to get a surgery, and the doctor advised that we just terminate the pregnancy because the chance of survival was so low that they just recommended that we just try again. And my husband and I were adamant that we weren't willing, that wasn't our choice. And we respect that every couple or woman has to make that choice. And for us, that wasn't our choice. We wanted to continue with the pregnancy. And it was over 100 days of bed rest and being in and out of the hospital and going from planning a pregnancy reveal to being on your back 24 hours a day
Wow.
and feeling all of the things that are happening in your body that's letting you know that your babies are not necessarily safe and
Wow.
counting week by week to try
I'm
to get to
sure.
the point where your kids are viable and dealing
Wow.
with the fear and dealing with again, right, the unknown and dealing
Yes.
with what you think a pregnancy should look like
Right.
and how it is for you. And
Mhm.
that's because for women and for men as well, we've been given a lot of false narratives about how pregnancy should look and should be.
Mhm.
And so if you are one of the 15% that move into a high risk pregnancy situation,
Right.
you're kind of carrying into your mind, I should carry full term. I should be exercising all the way through. I should be this. I should have a vaginal birth. You're carrying in all of these expectations. And
Right.
that's fair because we have our ideals.
Mhm.
But what might help is kind of shifting from a should to this is what I would like. This is my
Right.
ideal.
Mhm.
Because we know that pregnancies can be very unpredictable, right?
Yes. Yes.
And so just trying to be um, kind of open to the fact that whatever comes my way during this pregnancy, that I will cope with it, that we will deal with it, we will move through it.
Right.
And dealing with the emotions, the worry, the fear, the guilt, my body's not doing what it should be doing, right? The
Yes.
grief, the isolation, especially if you're a woman that is hospitalized, like I was for part of the time, or on bed rest, you're not interacting with the world at large,
Right.
right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You're kind of in this little cocoon. And so, yeah, there are tons of things. And then you're being told to stay positive, because if you get too worried, you could cause, the baby to have even more complications. And so
Right.
it's important that women know that the outcome of their baby is not solely based on their emotional state, because
Right.
that's the setup. If you tell a woman, if you get anxious, you can harm your baby, you're going to get anxious.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's
'Cause, yeah,
anxiety
I mean,
provoking.
you're gonna automatically stress,
Yeah.
with that, even though with them telling you that. Oh
Yeah.
my word.
Absolutely. And so there are a ton of resources that are available for women that find themselves in high risk pregnancy. There's just the Shades of Blue project, and that's especially for women of color that have social connected to social services and therapeutic groups.
Mhm.
There's a Mama Glow resource, and they're also for women of color, and they do online resources, online courses. And one of the most popular is Postpartum International, and they have
Okay.
online groups for pretty much anything in pregnancy, whether it's a loss, whether it's a baby in the NICU, whether you're experiencing the effects of abortion and trying to find healing. Uh,
Right.
they have a plethora of groups available, and
Wow.
so there are resources out there for women, so that
Mhm.
they know that they don't have to walk through these experiences alone.
Alone. Right. Wow. So your baby's use on bed rest half the time. So
100 days.
your 100 days. So how old? I mean, how many months were you when you delivered the baby? You was
They were 30, which was a miracle just to say a 30, by the way. I think they were
oh,
32 weeks.
Wow.
32
okay.
weeks. Some of the details I don't always remember,
Right.
because it was a traumatic experience. And so the
Right.
mind has a way of
Mm-hmm. Oh,
erasing them
erasing it. Yes,
from
I see it all the
context
time.
that
Yes.
is
Mm.
painful. And
Yeah.
so there are some things I can tell you with clarity. And then there's some details, especially the specifics, that my brain just kind of erased. And also motherhood needs to clean up space to remember all the things that keeps your kids alive, right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah.
So, but we moved, actually it was definitely a miracle, because we moved way farther than anyone thought that we would. And
Mm,
so we would come in, and they would come in for morning rounds. They'd say, because it was a teaching hospital, right? They would
okay.
say, okay, presenting Alicia Mecene. She's so pregnant. We can't believe she's still holding, we
Oh,
thought
wow.
that babies wouldn't make it, but they're still here. And so, yeah, they went way farther than anyone else thought.
So
And we were,
you became a miracle in the hospital.
oh, 100%,
Wow.
100%.
You need to write a book, sis.
I plan to. I plan to, because I want to normalize these conversations for
Mm-hmm.
women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that initially, when I was going through these and I was looking for resources, I wasn't always finding what I
The
was
stuff.
looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And so I
There's
want to
probably not
provide,
much out there.
yeah, yeah. And so now I know, which,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
but at that time, it wasn't as many resources accessible
Right.
at that time. And so, yeah, and my story is not unique. My story
Mhm.
is one of thousands and millions of women that walk through this
Have-
journey.
Mhm.
Wow.
How
Mm-hmm.
big were the kids when they were born?
Ooh, they were tiny. I remember we just were happy to get them to 1 pound.
Gotcha.
Wow.
We're counting down to a pound. I think one was 1.3 and 1.4 or something of that nature.
How big were
Wow.
you?
I
So
was a pound and my sister
yeah,
was a pound
yeah,
and a half, my mom
yeah,
said. We
yeah.
stayed in the hospital for what, 6 months, you said?
Mhm.
Wow.
A good
Yeah,
while.
see, she don't even remember that till
Because
I bring it up.
my mother couldn't carry babies long.
Yeah, yeah,
After she had my brother, she had him for a term,
yeah,
but after that, she just didn't carry babies a long
yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah.
Mm,
And that's, again, a very common thing that I speak to a lot of women that experience it,
mhm.
kind of similar to what you're describing. And
Yeah.
um, thank goodness, having accessibility to good NICUs, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
that makes a major difference. And so part of my therapeutic work when I'm walking alongside women is also teaching them how to advocate for themselves, letting them know what
Yes.
their options are, teaching them
Yes.
how to talk to the medical doctors and questions to ask and
Mhm.
things that they may not be as, yeah, because you're exhausted and you're
Like
traumatized.
you just said, you're not thinking. All you're thinking about is I just want to sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever the
Yeah.
doctor says is okay with me. I just want to sleep. You got to be more proactive in that process.
And
Yeah.
especially for women of color,
Yes.
Yes.
because our experience in medical communities can also often or at times be problematic. And
Mm.
so we do have to be able to speak up and call out things that we're noticing and seeing. And that's a whole nother podcast
Right.
Mhm.
in and of itself, right?
Mhm.
But the whole, I guess, a beautiful thing of our journey is that I hope that it conveys hope. And I'll say the name for our daughter that passed was Hope.
Oh.
Oh.
Her name was Hope. And so that was a name that was given to me, and I didn't understand it at the time. But
Mm.
now, kind of looking at the journey that we've been through, and now what I know is my mission, my purpose is to invoke hope to
Yes.
that no matter what your outcome is, no matter where you are right now,
That's the
my
title of your book, sis. Hope.
oh wow, you just gave me chills. Mm.
Quick. So
Oh,
with the
wow.
first
I
child that
got
you
tears
lost,
in my eyes
with
this
the
whole
first child
thing.
that you lost, did you have a funeral?
So that's a whole. I will
That's,
say this.
I'm
Before
sorry, I didn't want to.
I
I'm sorry to ask you. Just
No, 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 no. There's nothing wrong with you asking.
Okay.
I guess the best way I can answer that is we weren't able to do that.
Okay.
gotcha,
That sometimes there are medical systems
Right.
that can mess up and make that not a possibility.
Right.
gotcha. Okay,
But that was what we had hoped for. So
Yeah.
we did our own little private ceremony. And
Yeah.
ironically, the place where we had our own little way of honoring our baby
Mhm.
is a place that we took our first family pictures with our
oh, okay,
Aw.
cool.
so that's our spot. We come back to
There
that
you go.
same spot, that same beach where we mourned over
I
and
think I've
cried
seen
over.
that picture.
Oh.
You
I
might
think
have.
because when I remember that's how we got. That's we just met today, like
Yeah.
like physically,
Yeah.
not physically, but Zoom, whatever you want to call it.
That's quickly
But
what you
I
can
feel
get.
like, but I feel like we've known you for a while because I
It
remember
feels that
when you
way.
brought the babies home.
Yeah.
I remember you just bombarded Facebook and
Oh
Instagram with
yeah.
pictures. You just
Oh
had
yeah.
pictures everywhere, just
Oh
boom,
yeah.
boom, 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 boom.
Like you will
And
know
you,
about this miracle. You will
oh
know that there's
yeah,
hope.
no, it was
You
a
will
great
know
thing.
that there
It
is
was
hope.
it was a
Oh
great thing. It
my
was really good.
word. It was
I was
beautiful.
had them in the water. You had them on the
Yeah.
beach. You had them on the
Yeah.
sand. Right. So I kind of think I remember that first picture that you had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our first professional photo shoot that we did as a family, we did
Mhm.
it right there
Okay.
at the beach where we honored Hope. And the flowers that we used to send out to sea, we used to put around our babies as a
Oh
way of
Oh,
saying, you had a big sister. And
yeah.
she's not
yeah.
here, but in a way, she's here. You know, we're
Well,
going
Yeah.
to honor her and
yeah.
acknowledge her.
Oh.
Nothing wrong with that. It's
Your
Yeah.
good. It's
family is
good.
beautiful.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank
Guys, if you
you.
haven't seen, check out her Instagram, guys.
Emotional
All over.
love boutique.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The boutique.
Uh, oh, right. Let me put the information up.
You
I'm
could
so sorry.
like she's
I'm
so
so
thing.
sorry.
She's
I
trying
got.
to she don't know what to do. Like
I'm
put
so
it on the
sorry. I am about to put it up.
on the
Hold on.
screen. Oh goodness gracious!
I'm so
You're supposed to have that
sorry.
all. She normally has it all typed up already,
I
but
do. I
I
for some
do.
know,
reason,
boys. No
I have.
worries
I
at
have it
all.
here. I have it. All
oh,
right.
there we go.
There you
Okay.
go.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so
You welcome, sis.
So then
Because
so the babies were born. You bring them back home to Bermuda.
much. Mm-hmm.
Was there? Did you go through any anxiety since you had lost one with the babies once they were born?
Mm-hmm.
Did you go through any anxiety of something maybe happening or
Mm,
like I mean I because women even after they have when they
yep.
go through that trauma and you
Yes.
have a baby, now
Yes.
you go into the next trauma
Yes.
of overprotectiveness because you're
Yeah.
like I don't
Yeah.
want you're still counting the weeks because
Yes.
you're like
Yes.
okay we made it to this week
That's
especially
right.
since they was just a pound and a
That's
half
right.
you know
Yep.
so was
Yeah.
there a point of that?
Yeah, I think it's a very common experience for NICU moms. And
Mhm.
again, that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The NICU journey is a unique one where you don't immediately, well, depending on what level your kid is at, our kid
Right.
was in the incubator hooked up to not oxygen, which was a miracle, but
Wow.
Wow.
also feeding tubes and some oxygen, but it wasn't I should say they weren't dependent on oxygen. I'll put it
It
that
was
Okay.
way.
like more the nasal because you can have just a
Yes,
nasal one where
exactly.
you get the pure
Exactly.
oxygen, but you're not depending. It's just to make
That
sure
was
that you're
them.
breathing in clean air.
Right.
That was them, exactly, right? And so you go from having these machines that let you know that your kids are okay, their heart's beating, and because they're preemies, are times where those elevations will go down, and you're like, their heartbeat's going down. Are they okay? And so you're kind of dealing with that. Okay, you're here, but now let's learn what it's like to parent a 1 pound old small little baby, right? So
Right.
there's definitely levels of anxiety and fear of can I take care of this small baby, right?
Mhm.
But I will say through this journey, it's amazing the resiliency that you learn about yourself. That
Yes.
Mhm,
I can do hard things.
mhm.
I can persevere through the unimaginable,
Yes.
right? And so
Mhm.
you can find this inner strength, you can find
Mhm.
this inner warrior that comes out where you acknowledge the anxiety, you process the anxiety, you give
Yes.
yourself compassion, baby. Of course you feel like I talk to myself like, baby, of course, honey, you feel like that. The
Yeah.
way that I would talk to my kids, you talk to yourself and you mother and you care. Of course you'd feel nervous, honey. You love these girls more than you can ever imagine. Of course
Yeah.
you want nothing to happen to them, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And but you find ways to release the anxiety. And
Yes.
what you're asking is a question of perinatal mental health, which is an area that I'm moving into specializing in. That
Okay.
has to do
Good.
with pregnancy, postpartum, NICU, all of these things, right? And that's postpartum anxiety. Often we hear about postpartum depression, right? That's a
Mhm.
Yes.
common thing.
Yes.
But postpartum anxiety is just as common,
Wow.
right?
Um,
Never even knew that existed.
Yeah,
mhm.
it can play out, because and it can be easily dismissed for, "Oh, you're just being a new mom,"
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true.
Just being a
Yeah.
new
I got
mom.
Yeah.
told that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but there may be some
Oh,
postpartum
oh, is
anxiety.
that other phrase they use? Like, oh, you'll figure it out. All mothers
Yeah,
do.
yeah,
Yeah.
They
yeah,
love that phrase.
yeah,
They love
Mhm.
that phrase. Like, oh, you'll be okay. You'll figure it out.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Hey there, Cynthia. Thank you so much for tuning in. I was reading the messages that
Yeah.
as you
That's
Yeah.
were
how.
Yeah.
That's how Mama.
Yeah. That's actually my mom.
Mama Shaw, baby. Mama
Yeah, but those are normal. And I think that's the importance if I can hone anything in. It's all of these emotional states and experiences are normal,
Yes.
Yes.
are reasonable reactions. There's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't feel good. You may need support through it. It doesn't mean that you don't need clinical assistance at times, but it's
Mhm.
still a normal emotion that if you experience these things, that there will be a level of response.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, moved through the anxiety and definitely was able to kind of process and let that go so that it doesn't become a baseline way to your point of parenting, where it
Yeah.
moves from postpartum anxiety to where now I'm smothering my child
Yeah.
because
Yes.
I'm afraid of what might happen to them.
Mm.
Yeah.
How old are the twins now?
Oh girl, they're 16 months already.
I thought they were
Oh.
older.
They think they are.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel. Yeah, I
Oh
feel. That's what I was saying.
wow.
I felt like there was like two going
Yeah,
on 3. I felt honestly. I
yeah.
just maybe it's a pandemic. I just felt like that. Like I just felt
Oh, they
like
growing so fast.
We're growing so fast, and they have big, and you may appreciate this, Tara, being a NICU baby as well. When we were in the when I was in the hospital, I had a few nurses that
Mhm.
were NICU
Mhm.
babies themselves,
Right.
and they were like, "Man, as NICU babies, it kind of you learn how to fight for some of them from the womb.
hmm
Yes.
You're fighting from the womb. Then when you get here, you're fighting, right?"
Yes.
And so for some of them, there is this kind of inner strength, inner resiliency, inner um, just voice.
Yes.
Yeah, they kind of come into the scene not
Yeah.
necessarily kind of being cuddled and cradled with just, calm nursery sounds. They come into the into the world with machines beeping and nurses running, right?
Yeah.
They and my daughters are just like bold little girls. They are,
Oh,
I feel like who I've become as a woman in my strength, they've just kind of came into the world at the state that I've grown to, if that makes sense.
wow.
Well,
Yes.
that would
They
help
are
him. That
just
would
so
help him going down the road because I think, like you say, they
yeah,
came out. They came out running, even at a
yeah,
pound.
they did.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
How many
amazing.
minutes apart are they?
Just 1 minute because we had to do emergency C-section.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. But
Wow.
my oldest thinks that the one that is the youngest thinks that she is the oldest.
I
My
know.
Bella.
Well,
Yeah.
you know
Oh.
what? You don't even have twins for
Running
that
my
to happen
my
because our 8-year-old thinks she's older than the 12-year-old.
Mhm.
That's 4 years apart. So it's
Yeah.
not even about being twins and being older. It's just,
These
and then the
babies.
12-year-old tells the 14-year-old, the boy,
Uh-huh.
that she's the oldest.
Right.
So it's just a, it's that's never gonna
Sibling
go. That's a
dynamic.
sibling thing. That's just a sister thing.
Oh.
That's
Absolutely,
I
absolutely.
yeah.
love how you take videos of every moment. That's me. I take videos and
Mm,
pictures of every moment.
yeah.
And I love that my mom had pictures of us in the NICU. So she even looking at them now at my age, almost
Mhm.
40, I'm like, wow, I came a long way. Like, and my
Yeah.
mom always tell us a story how the nurses used to write stories about us and how we was doing
Mm,
good and stuff like that. So I think when your girls finally get old enough to know the journey that they've been through, they're
mhm,
gonna be so inspired by what you've been through as a mother, and
mhm.
it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna help them to become good mothers as well.
Yeah, I definitely believe that. I definitely
Mm.
believe there's a purpose. They are not here by accident.
No,
No,
definitely.
They
definitely not.
they came here kicking and screaming and fighting to be here, and
Yeah,
and God has a purpose for their lives. My husband and I have
definitely.
no doubt about that.
Oh,
Oh,
definitely. They
definitely.
did.
Oh,
That was. We always say God puts us through things that we can handle no more than what you can bear. But
Mm,
even though you had the loss of the first child, there was
mm,
a reason. They was the reason. I mean,
mm.
not. I don't. How can I say that? You know
I
what
know
I
what
mean?
you're
Like,
trying to say. I know what you're trying to say. No
like,
one
okay.
gets to experience a loss of a child, right?
right,
Mhm.
But the result is it doesn't mean, the result is that our girls are here.
right.
That's the result. It doesn't minimize the pain that she was less important, that if she was here, that, it's not a statement of preference, right? But
Yeah.
No, 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 no.
it's a state of cause and effect, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it's a cause and effect. Like,
Cause and
yeah,
effect. Mm-hmm.
yeah. You
That was the
you may have lost one, but you gained
yeah,
two,
yeah.
and those two, like you said, like you had the flowers around to say,
Mhm,
hope.
mhm.
So they probably at some point will be a bit of hope would have been,
Yep.
like you understand. It's like that's how I always believe. Like everything happens for a reason. So,
Mhm.
you just thank God and keep moving. So, but that's just.
That
I know it
just
sounds kind of cold, but I'm not trying to sound cold.
I know what you mean
But
though.
I'm trying to say, but I just don't know how to say
Yeah.
it.
How
She
can I
knows what I'm saying.
normalize that discomfort and not knowing what to say? We don't know how to talk about loss because
That's
That's
it's
right.
true.
not
That's
something we
true.
commonly talk about. So
Yeah.
don't feel like crap, I gotta stumble with my words. I'm gonna say the wrong thing and offend this woman. It's trust me, I know your heart. And I also want to normalize it. It's just rough to figure out what to say when things like this happen.
Exactly. And that's
Mhm.
why I
Um,
was saying earlier, you don't sometimes when somebody
yeah,
has a loss, you just don't say nothing.
yeah,
I've learned that. Don't say nothing. Just let them
yeah,
ask you and then you respond.
yeah.
Because you is really nothing really able to say.
But to see you where you are now
Yeah.
and the journey that you and your husband on now is just amazing.
Thank you so much, sis.
And
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
keep watching your
Actually,
story.
real quick before that, so one thing you was when you had the babies, you was doing this is something that you just started. So was the what you went through the reason why you started this
Oh, let
emotional
me tell you
boutique?
about that. I wanted to actually hone in on that when we were talking about
Oh, okay.
high risk pregnancies.
Mhm.
My calling came parallel to my adversity, and I really want to
Okay.
hone in on that. I
Okay.
launched my first business, which was Right for Your Healing, my first website. I
Okay.
launched that during my 100 days on bed rest.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
I had been working on it for years, but during that timeline, I was able to have an abundance of accessible time.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And God just gave me a clear vision and I ran with it. And so for some
Wow.
women, they feel like, man, I can't do what I want to do because I'm in this place of brokenness.
Right.
my calling didn't come when I was necessarily all patched up, right? So to speak.
Wow.
I my first speaking engagement on national television was when I was on bed rest. I was sitting in
Wow.
the
Oh,
chair, no one knew. My first time getting
Wow.
a summit engagement was when I was on bed rest.
Wow.
All of these things happen in the midst of the adversity. So sometimes it doesn't
Look
come
at that. Mhm.
after, right? And
Wow.
then this business, the Emotional Wellness Boutique, that became okay. I'm moving from providing therapeutic content, which is what Right for Your Healing was, and I'm moving towards direct therapeutic service delivery. I'm moving towards private practice. And that aspect just got launched in May. But I've
Wow.
gotten clientele both locally and abroad. I see clients online, so I can see clients from anywhere in the world.
mm.
And
Wow.
it's
That was
literally
actually one of my questions.
yeah, I see
Wow.
clients anywhere in the world online because women asked for this.
Yes.
Yes.
Women asked for this, and that's what caused me to launch this business, which is
Wow.
really a calling.
Wow. I love it.
So put it back up again.
Oh, what? Oh, whole thing. Okay, sorry. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
so
Right.
if you're
I
interested
don't
in
know.
the counseling aspect, then you can look at my website, www.emotionalwellnessboutique.com,
That's
and
what.
you can send me a message to that through the chat feature, read up about what my services entail, and I'd love to support women, girls, 13 plus for the
Mhm.
girls on their journey.
Wow.
Wow,
That's amazing.
that's absolutely amazing. I mean, like you said, out of the ash comes a diamond,
That's right.
Mm.
That's
and
right.
I
you
love
never
that.
would have probably went this way if you didn't have the experiences that you had.
Mhm.
You probably would have been still where you was before, and
Yeah.
and probably stuck and wondering why you're stuck there.
Yeah.
But
But
this
it's not
has
until you
allowed
go
you
Not
to
through things
open.
sometimes that push you to do.
Yeah,
that's
that's what I'm saying. Like
Mm.
the adversity that we face sometimes allows us to then move and then say, okay, let me go down a different path. Let me,
yeah,
like you were saying earlier, about do a different direction.
Right.
Create your own narrative of what you want to
that's
do,
right.
what you want to be, what you want to provide, what you
That's
want
right.
to show.
Right.
So,
There's a whole field called post-traumatic growth.
Mm.
oh, okay.
That's about who you become on the other side of your pain.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow.
Post-traumatic growth, right? Who you
Yeah.
become on the other side. And while I know I would have ended up doing this work eventually, it wouldn't have
Mhm.
happened this quickly.
Right.
One thing that can happen through healing from trauma is it can create the sense of ain't nothing in front of me worse than what's behind me.
Girl.
If I can deal with not knowing if I can become a mom, if I can deal with the loss of a child, if I can deal with not knowing if my babies are going to survive, right? Then I can deal. There's nothing that you can put in front of me now that
Mm.
I cannot persevere through. And that's a part of what post-traumatic growth can look like.
Yeah.
I just thought there's one last question. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Do you think the experiences that you have went through has allowed you, because sometimes when you talk to women or even to men, just talk to people in general, you could be that therapist, but if you didn't experience it, they may not really latch on. But
Yeah.
because you went through the experience,
Yeah.
it gives you that extra thought process
Yeah.
of when they're saying something, I know how you
That's
feel.
right.
And they say,
That's right.
how do you know how I feel? Well, I
Yeah.
went through this too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then it kind of opens up the door.
Mm.
Yeah, there's an authenticity that comes when
Right.
you've held your baby in your arms and
Right.
you've held your womb and you weren't too, there's an authenticity that when you're talking about it, and I think this goes into SJ's question, that are there triggers experiencing when assisting someone when you've been through a similar experience? And this is a common thing for counselors as in general,
I
right? You
see.
can apply, copy and paste this to anything that a
Right.
counselor has experienced in conjunction to listening to your client retell their story. I'll say this, you may have an emotional reaction, but it doesn't take me off the path from doing what I need to do as a clinician. I counsel with my head and my heart.
Mm.
Gotcha.
My head and my heart, right?
Mm.
So I
Yeah.
feel your pain. I feel your story. I'm right there with you. I'm really in the thick of it with you, right? But my
Right.
clinician's mind stays online, knowing where this session is going to go, knowing how I can support you, right?
Mm.
And that
Yeah.
is the beauty of having the book knowledge, the scholastic aptitude of knowing how to support someone, but
Right.
also being able to say, look, I've been there, but I've done the healing work, right? I've done the
Right.
work that allows me now to jump in and support. So we're
Right.
we're both not drowning together in the pain, right?
Right. Right.
We're
Mhm.
both not drowning together in the pain. I got you. and
Right.
not you.
Mm.
Thank you for
Hope
that
that-
question, SJ.
yeah, I would say I hope that
Right.
answered her question.
Yeah, I didn't even see the question because I don't have my glasses. I just asked the question
No
because it
worries.
popped in my head.
Yeah.
I love when people talk back and forth like
Oh,
this.
we love it too. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
But so
Oh, what? I'm just sitting here in awe.
Taking on the moment.
I
so
am.
pretty much we're just going to say thank you so much for all the information and just the positive thinking and positive way that you went about telling us about this. I don't, with the beginning of, with the triggers and
Mhm.
just allowing people to hopefully listening to this will be able to understand a little bit better or understand even men and women.
That's right.
Men actually, I think this is good for men to listen to too, because
Mhm.
men need to understand
What
what a
women go
woman is
through.
going through.
Yeah.
That's
Because
right.
sometimes I think men don't understand what women are going through. They
Yeah.
just think, you get pregnant, you have a baby, you pop it out, poof.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
you lose the baby, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
we could try again. No, it's
Yeah.
not always that simple.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it takes a lot to get the woman back going again to
Mhm.
want to try to have another child.
Yeah.
So,
That can
but we
cause
just want to,
problems in marriages as
yeah, that
well.
can
Yeah.
cause,
Absolutely.
breakups and breaks up marriages and everything.
Mhm.
Because,
Right.
just the stress is too much.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like you said, you can go on and see Alicia Mency,
Alicia Mecene.
Mecene,
Mecene.
right?
Get it right.
Got
Mecene.
Get it right.
You can
it.
find her
Alicia
on
Mecene.
Instagram and you can find her on Facebook, but you can find her at www.emotionalwellnessboutique.com.
Wellness.com.
You got it.
And all we've been on the website is a lot of information and
Mhm.
way to contact her if you want to get in
That's right.
contact with her if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, you do it all. That was actually going to be my question, which you brought up. You do online, so
That's
Zoom and
right.
all that. So that's good.
Accessible.
So you're not just in Bermuda; you're all worldwide. But
Absolutely. I have clients that
Global guys. So share with a friend, share with an enemy,
yeah,
share with whoever, and put
Mhm.
it out there because we need help out here. And if you
Do.
can get the assistance and the positivity
yes,
that Miss Alicia can give you, then hey, go for it.
yes,
Mhm.
yes. And
Yeah,
we
I
just
just
want to
want to
say,
really implore. I'm so sorry.
no. Talk.
Really implore that you don't have to do it alone, because
Yeah,
there's a lot of research that says that there can be a long distance between when someone knows that they need therapy and when
Yes.
they actually make the choice to access therapy.
Yes.
And so I just wanted to urge like women, like know that you don't have to do it alone, and
Mhm.
that investing in your mental health, investing in your healing, investing in your peace is something that yields dividends.
that's true.
Definitely.
That is so true. Because, like you said in the beginning, all it does is self care and self worth and self love. If you
Mhm.
can't take care of yourself, who else is? They always say that if you can't take care of yourself, who else will take care of you?
Yeah,
That's true.
absolutely.
So
Well,
thank you so much for joining
thank
us.
you for
We
coming on.
really have enjoyed
We could
this.
go. We could
And
talk all day about
Yeah,
this.
maybe down the
it's
road
been
we
great
can
to
have you
talk
back.
to
Maybe
you.
down the road we can have you back again and we can get into a little
Let's
more
do
detail
it.
into some other things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and maybe we
You
can
know.
meet the twins.
I
And
know, right?
how
Look,
how
they
much
would
they
take
get
this
along.
mic
Well,
right
look, I'm
here.
gonna be honest. You're gonna have to come to the UK because I ain't coming to Bermuda. I don't got that kind of bread. And number one, for five of us to come to Bermuda is like
Right?
astronomical. I'll go to Bermuda and I bring back pictures.
Oh.
She didn't even hear me. See, look, did you
Thank
hear
you
what I
so
Yeah, I
said?
much,
heard what you
Ashley.
said.
Really
But you didn't
appreciate it.
respond because I
Yeah,
knew it was,
I did it.
I expected a response.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I expected you to be like, "Hey, over my dead body,"
Oh,
or
over my
you,
dead body.
know, I
I'm
expected
sorry.
something.
My mind is somewhere else.
You're in another stratosphere
I'm in
right
a.
now.
I am. I'm
Yeah,
so
you're in
sorry,
a different
sweetheart.
zone.
It's
Yeah.
all right. It's all right.
No, you was, you supposed to, come on, get with the
I'm
program.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
But thank
forever
you.
in the UK will definitely hit you guys up for sure.
Oh, definitely.
Thank you,
But
SJ. She put definitely pray of Alicia and her mission in assisting in the area of her expertise.
Yes,
yes,
thank you
yes,
so much, Ashley. Appreciate that. Thank you.
yes,
Thank you.
definitely.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Thank you so much for joining us and for telling us about your story and for
Mhm.
giving hope to other women out there that may be going through the problems that they may be going through.
Definitely.
Yeah, thank you for the invite.
Oh, no problem. Thank you. It's been a long time coming. We went back and forth, but we finally got it done.
Yeah, but
Yeah, we're trying to find the dates, and this one worked out
Actually,
for everyone.
did you enjoy last weekend?
So guess what? It's the end of this month. I found out afterwards.
I
But
bet
everything worked out.
everything.
Everything worked out. Everything
All
worked
right, no
out.
problem, no
Oh
problem, no
my
problem, no
goodness.
problem. Like you said, everything happens for a reason. You
Yes,
know, you know.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
maybe
everything
we can
happens for
do
a
that. You
reason.
see what SJ just said. Maybe
Yeah.
we can set that up and have your husband come on.
I'll ask
And
him. I'll ask him.
yeah.
He tends to be a more like less. He tends to be more camera shy.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Who's gonna watch the twins?
There's also that very practical element.
Yeah, come on. Now, who gonna watch the kids? Your kids are older, so they can take care of themselves. But who gonna watch the 16-month-old?
Oh my
You want them
goodness.
running? She do not want them running around the house. You come back, it'll be powder or Vaseline or something everywhere.
Sounds like my girls.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's a typical
Oh,
16-month-old. Like,
Yeah.
you know, get
we'll
everything.
see what we can work out, SJ. Oh, it's Sheldon. You know Sheldon. Sheldon Johnson from
Yeah.
Virginia.
Oh, what's up, man? Former
Yeah.
classmate. Nice to hear from
Yes.
you. Nice to hear from you.
That's him. Okay.
Oh, that's what SJ was.
Yes, I didn't know who it was
I
at
didn't know who that
first.
was at first either. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
thank
yeah.
you so much, Kristen. Really appreciate it. Thank
She
you.
from Bermuda too.
Yes, burn me.
Burp, burp.
Well, we definitely going to have you back,
Yeah,
Alicia,
Yes.
because it's so much information, very informative, and we want to know how your business is going to be growing. And
absolutely.
so we'll let time go and then bring you back.
Yeah, let's
Or
do
maybe
it.
when you write your book,
Yeah, you
So
you
coming
need to
back.
write it back.
Tell us let us know when your book is done
Yes,
because
yes,
we want to help promote it. And
definitely.
we get
And we
more
can have
time.
one before that because it may be a while before that, but
Yeah.
we don't want to come back in like a year now.
No.
Have one before then.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
So if you want to hold on for a minute, we're just gonna think it will come back.
We're gonna end the thing and then
Come back
we'll
to you for
talk to you
just a
for a
minute.
bit.
Sounds good.
So, but everybody say bye to Miss Alicia.
Bye, Alicia.
You know where to find me.
That's right. All right. So, guys,
Thank you so much for joining us today on the God is Real and Well podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We want to thank you for taking your time to rewatch it, or if you was on live while we did it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, going forward, we will be doing some live programs, but we will be also doing a lot of recorded programs
Yeah.
where my mother was on. I meant to tell you that.
Yeah. Hi,
My mother was
Mom.
on.
Hi, Mom.
She was on. She was texting me. You know,
Oh,
she
okay.
texted me. Do you know who that is? And I'm like, yeah, I knew who it is. And she was like, oh, she acted like I didn't know who. I was
Who
like, I know
Alicia
who that is.
was?
Yeah. I was like, I know who Alicia is. Man, you're late. Like, relax. She was like, okay. But yeah, bye, Ma. But yeah, thank you for joining us. We're gonna be doing some recorded programs where we'll be putting it on this platform at this time, but it will be recorded.
Yeah.
So if you do a comment or if you want to put something on there, we'll try to respond to that comment. Or like I said, you can reach us at the Goddard's Ministry at gmail.com.
That's
the Goddard's
right.
Ministry at gmail.com.
That's right.
Actually, I didn't tell you yet, but because of this, somebody actually already emailed us that wants to come on that something not towards what we were talking about,
Right.
but
Something different.
yeah, no, it's actually about women. Is a women topic, but
Okay.
they just emailed right before we got on the show.
Okay.
I flagged it so you can look at the email later.
Okay.
And like as we always ask, if you feel impressed or if you feel inclined, you can go on the Cash App and you can Cash App to the ministry to $ Real and Raw Podcast.
That's right.
Or you can do the £, the is it called the £?
Yeah, in the UK.
The British £.
Yeah.
Goddard's Land.
Mm-hmm.
And PayPal is at Goddard's Ministry.
Mm-hmm.
PayPal's at Goddard's Ministry.
GODDARDS Ministry.
Yes.
Yes. Keep
And we
that
just want to
clear.
thank everybody for coming on, and we hope that you have a great week.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow is going to be a bank holiday for the funeral of the Queen.
Mm-hmm.
So everything is pretty much going to be shut down.
Yeah.
I still have to go to work. But, hey,
Aww.
but like I told you, it's nothing for us to do. So I might as well go to work.
Yeah. Might as well.
Yeah, might as well. Get
Make
away
a little
from
money.
You. No, get away from you.
I'm a good person.
You are a good person, but I still want to get away from you. Anyway, like I said, thank you again, guys. Have a good week.
Have a good week. Blessings to you all.
Yes, and thank you for watching the Goddess Podcast. My name is Pedro.
My name is Tara.
Peace.
Peace.